Look at it. Huh?
Duck.
You see how flat and elongated those breasts are?
Yes.
This is really, really, really good
Yummy.
timing for it. I may have to switch knives because I don't like my knife being that dull. I don't put any work on it. Thought I was bringing the right knife kit. Yeah, I have knife kits that are dull too that I have to do more work on, but you know, I don't always want to sharpen my knives when I'm at home. But I will treat it the same way. Same.
Like, hey, what did that on? Like, oh, I can do it too.
Do you know what this knife is called?
Us.
What's it called?
Weekly? No, sorry. No.
Sabatier.
Cemetery. I knew it.
Scimitar also. These are that curved blade.
I think I
I
have one
use
that's
this for
red.
meat and for fish. Now the one thing about this area, all this fat right here, the wishbone is way in there. Okay? So when you're cutting the skin off of here, you gotta be careful. You don't want to cut back here. Okay? So we'll cut like right there. Look at all that wonderful fat. It's beautiful. So I put the fat there. And then I want to go in. So in here we have some membranes. Let me just loosen up some of the membranes so you can see what we're doing. Right here is the wishbone. Right in there. I'm going to free the wishbone. Just so you can see what shape it is. Same thing, follow it down, follow the contour of it. See where my finger is? See that? That's your wishbone right there. Comes down the same way, either side of the neck. Go straight down on the side, take it out right by the bone. The bone goes back, it goes down instead of connecting like ours. Has a little hook on it. I'll show you that. See?
Weird.
That's what that looks like. Now I still have a good amount of fat coverage on my breast. It looks good. It's very nice. The wings on the duck, we don't always use in the same way. But just for the sake of saying, because typically we take the wings off because what do we want most? The breast. Right? So when you're taking off the wing from the duck, you want to look at the side of it. You see all that fat covering? You don't want to cut here. If you're cutting from the top, you're going to do what?
Right.
See how I'm doing that? You're going to slice right into that breast. Turn it to the side and you look at it. Take your knife and go from under, like under the armpit, and up. Sorry about that. Go under the armpit and up. So you have the wing. Do it again. And you can see right here how I took it out. I left the breast intact. Okay? So, instead of going from the top, I go under the armpit, just like that. Curve my knife up. Now, I preserve the nice, sexy breast. The legs. The legs and the breast are very close in relation. on this side, I want fat. The breast goes down and around. Okay? Really heavily endowed, your breasts are here, but they also go, they cup around by, I know, it could be a bad way. There's no other way to say it.
No, it's just
a good thing.
It was
Just
a thing to
understand.
say
Just
about
understand.
if you're all in doubt.
You're kind of looking at me like, don't say that. I'm sorry.
I
I mean
thought it was funny.
with the best intentions. I'm sorry.
No, I took it as a joke.
I'm going to go right in between, right? Because I want to protect this breast meat, that line. And I'll do it again. And then right when I make that incision, I want to cut that part. Because I want that fat for my leg. Take it around. Does this bird have an oyster?
No, yes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Right down. But it's a more shallow oyster. See it? See that right there? I left a little bit of it on. It's very shallow. So typically when you're doing the duck, you have arrived if you're able to get all of that. Okay? All that fat. So on the other side, same idea. Again, I always push the skin. I want that skin to be separated. In many cases, you can just start there, and you can just come down like such. Come down. Flip it over. Pop it. Get into there. Get that oyster working. In many cases, you may not be able to. Show you where that's at. Pull that. Come straight down. So you have a lot of fat. Now normally what we do with this is what?
Duck confit.
Duck confit. Legs are going to be duck confit. So now we're left with the big boys. You could take a duck breast off in one fell swoop and have two breasts. Many fabrication companies, they do that. They come from the bottom and typically go right on the rib cage and pull it all off. I don't necessarily like to do that. I like to come from the top, straight down on top of the keel bone. Okay, just like such. And once you get into it, it'll separate all by itself really nicely. Come off really nicely. You may have a little bit of the keel bone attached until you get into it and do a few of them. But that's okay. I'd rather have the cartilage on it than to waste or lose any breast meat at all. Now that's an untrimmed breast right there. Take the other one, straight down. Straight down like such. At this point, when you're dealing with a product right out of the refrigerator, your hands get really numb. It's that thing that I was telling you about before, where you can cut your finger off and you wouldn't even know it. Here's our carcass. What kind of stock will we make with that?
Duck stock.
Of course it would be duck. Is it a blanc or brun?
Brun.
Why brun? Red meat. Okay, so you want to roast the bones. That being said, you want to roast the bones so that you get that wonderful color in your stock, and you get immense, really awesome flavors. Okay?
Sorry.
Really important. So, here we have the breasts. To fabricate the breasts as to what they look like out of the store, first of all, take off the tenderloin. It's quite small, right?
Yeah.
Little baby tenderloins. I used to do appetizers with those too. Duck strips. Little panko crumbs, and season it up really nice. Serve it with like a roasted plum sauce. Incredible. That stuff is fun eating, You don't want to leave the silver skin on. You want to take the silver skin right off. And then what I do with it at this point, because I want adequate fat coverage for the breast, spread it out, have a look-see, and I just lightly trim it. The fat, I generally keep it because I use it when I render the fat down. Okay. Still good coverage, not bad. Okay. You could trim it further, but generally what I would do instead of trimming it further, not even. I put it back in the refrigerator, I let it get cold, and then I trim it after. Because if you're trimming it like this, you are going to miss it or you're not going to have adequate coverage. So I put it like this and I allow it to get really nice and cold. Sometimes, depending on the situation, I may even freeze it, refreeze it, so that I could trim it really nicely and then I'll have nice breast afterwards. It depends on the use. But since we have time today, I'm going to show you guys how to cook the breast. Just simple. We'll use some salt and pepper, and we'll just pan sear it. Show you what I want. We want that skin to be nice and caramelized. Have you guys ever tasted duck?
Yes.
Oh, so maybe I don't need to make it for you. I'll make it my breakfast and you just watch. Go right under the membrane like such. Take them off. Okay. The legs. Again, I want as much of the fat as possible. I save it. Look. Beautiful. Confit. Typically, you won't find a lot of the legs for duck Frenched always. It works the same way. If you're going to French it, it works the same way as chicken. You take it, and on this one I would go from the outside, and I would go right into the cap of the cartilage, straight on down like such. Cutting those membranes. Take paper towel. Morning, Danny. Those tendons are holding on, they don't want to let go. Make a nice little incision. Pop it right off. Duck is a little bit harder. But not impossible. Feels like it's impossible, doesn't it? You're saying it, Chef, but it ain't giving up. It's holding on. Can't get a grip with this fat. As you can see, the cartilage is still holding on. The tendons are holding on to it. A little bit more, but again, same process. There we go. Same idea. It's better cooking it bone in, confit, and so forth with duck. More fat, very sexy, good to go. All right?